Okay, so we now move to Module 3, Ethical Principles and Legal Doctrines in Healthcare. So at the end of this presentation, students would be able to define, list, and discuss the different ethical principles that are applicable in the clinical setting, as well as the different legal doctrines and terminologies related to healthcare and uh, malpractice and negligence. Okay? So first we will begin with the ethical principles. Okay? So these are the basic ethical principles that a healthcare professional should know. First is autonomy. Autonomy is the person's right to make one's decision or own decision. Okay, it means self-determination. So basically, uh, autonomy means freedom. Freedom to make uh, their own decision. So ito ay applicable sa ating mga patients. Katulad yung binabanggit ko kanina, yung autonomy. Then, ito nabanggit na natin before, beneficence. This is an ethical principle that all healthcare practitioners should practice. Beneficence means to do good. Um, it is an act of mercy or charity. Okay? So ito yung mga ilan sa mga dapat nyo tandaan. Okay? So autonomy, beneficence. Then we move to non-maleficence. Okay? So non-maleficence, so ano pumapasok sa isip nyo? Tanggalin niyo muna si Angelina. Okay? Walang Angelina Jolie sa non-maleficence. Kasi nga di ba, non-maleficence. Okay? So, non-maleficence, the belief that a medical professional should cause no harm or injury. So it simply means to do no harm, or first to do no harm. That comes from the Latin dictum primum non nocere. Okay? So, ibig sabihin ng primum non nocere is first to do no harm. Okay? Then, the last of the most common ethical principle is justice. Okay? Justice not justice. So magkaiba yung justice, is pogi yun. Is ganda rin, pwede rin. Okay? So, justice refers to the obligation to be fair to other people. Okay? So basically, it concerns with the distribution of the scarce health resources and the decision of who gets the what treatment. Okay? So fairness and equality. So, diyan papasok ngayon yung tinatanong ni Mr. Remorosa kanina. Sino ba yung makakakuha ng treatment daw? So that, yan, equality. Depende sa magiging assessment. Okay? Next. So, paternalism. So, ito yung mga concept or mga words na na-encounter na natin before. Okay? So, paternalism, so it means that a person must be treated with the same kind of concern and in the same way a parent would treat a child. So, this principle has long been applied in medicine and in conflict with autonomy. So, katulad na nasa picture natin, di ba? So, yung isang tao, nilagay sa strap jacket. Then sabi nung lalaki na isa, it is for your own good. We're only trying to help you. So, in some way, it portrays paternalism. Kasi kami yung doktor, mas alam namin yung mas makakabuti sa'yo, sundin mo na lang kung ano yung gusto naming ipagawa sa'yo. So yun yung essence ng paternalism. Okay. Next is utilitarianism. Okay. So idea that the goal of the society should bring about the greatest number of people or the greatest good for the greatest number. So kita nyo, mas matimbang yung maraming tao kaysa doon sa side na konti ang tao. Okay? So next, fidelity. When applied to medicine, that means abiding by the code of professional ethics and adherence to the agreements with the patient, observing the patient bill of rights and other policies of the hospital. Then confidentiality. So of course, it is the principle of not divulging information to others, okay, without the permission of the patient or without court order, okay, without the permission of the patient or court order. Okay, so fidelity and confidentiality. Okay, so yan yung mga terms or ethical principles na everyday ay ma-encounter natin or kailangan nating makita, ma-recognize sa ating workplace in order for us to make a sound judgment and good decisions. Okay? And then, of course, if there are ethical considerations, hindi mawawala yung legal considerations or legal aspect. Laging may legal aspect involved in any practice of any profession. Okay? So, sabi ko nga before that or we define law as a rule of civil conduct, okay, prescribed by the supreme power of a state, commanding what is right and prohibiting what is wrong. So yan yung uh, elements ng law. Siya ay isang listahan ng kung paano kumilos ang society. Okay? Ito ay binigay ng supreme authority ng isang estado, okay, na nagsasabi kung ano yung gawin kung ano yung tama at pinagbabawal kung alin ang mali. So that is our definition of law. So, madali bang ma-recall yung definition ng law? It is a rule of civil conduct prescribed by the supreme power of the state, commanding what is right, prohibiting what is wrong. Okay? May ganun. Okay? So, there are different sources of laws in the Philippines. Okay? The primary source of law or laws in the Philippines is, of course, number one, the Constitution. And currently, the Constitution that we follow is the 1987 Constitution. Okay? Then, legislature, or what we call statutory law. Okay. Sa legislature or statutory law, ito yung mga batas na nanggagaling sa Congress. Okay. We have two houses of Congress, diba? The lower house and the upper house, or the House of Representatives and the Senate. Okay. Yung batas na manggagaling sa kanila at pipirmahan ng presidente or kapag pinirma ng presidente ay nagiging Republic Act. So lahat ng Republic Act ay statutory law. Kasi siya ay law or batas na nanggaling sa legislature or sa Kongreso. Okay? Yan. Then jurisprudence. Okay. Jurisprudence is the science of um, or the philosophy of law. Okay? So, when we say jurisprudence, ito yung mga decisions ng court, either ng Supreme Court or ng Court of Appeals. Decisions. When we say decisions or jurisprudence, ito yung mga maririnig natin minsan. Ewan ko lang kung nakarinig na kayo sa news or sa anywhere else na mga binabanggit na, let's say, Maceda versus Enrile, ganyan, or Maceda versus the people of the or Republic of the Philippines, blah, blah, blah. So, yung mga ganyan. Ibig sabihin nun, yun ay Supreme Court or yun ay court decisions. Either Supreme Court or Court of Appeals or kung hindi man ay mga lower courts. Okay? Then number 4, we have the administrative laws. Okay. Administrative laws are rules and regulations that the executive branch issues. Okay? So ito na yung mga kabilang dito yung executive order na binibigay ng Presidente ng Pilipinas or yung mga EO, Executive Order 1, blah blah blah, or yung mga department order ng mga different departments or mga CHED memorandum or mga memorandum ng either departments, bureaus, or any agency of the government. So sila ay nagiging source ng laws, Philippine laws. Okay? Okay. So, yeah. Again, the sources of laws in the Philippines are the Constitution, okay, the statutory law, or the legislature, jurisprudence, and administrative. Yung apat na yan. Bakit may pag-waive? Okay, next, siyempre, jurisprudence, the philosophy of law, or the theoretical study of law. Okay, so, sir, sabi nyo kanina, yan ay mga decision, mga court's decision. So, paano siya naging study of law or theoretical study of law? Kasi po, lahat ng mga napagdesisyonan na ng korte, ito ay ginagamit sa pag-aaral ng batas ng law. Kung kayo ay mag-aabogado, ang dami niyong babasahin ng mga jurisprudence. Diba? If, kung napanood niyo yung Bar Boys, okay? So doon nyo makikita, diba? On how law students, kung paano sila nag-aaral at ano yung mga pinag-aaralan nila. Di ba mga jurisprudence? Katulad nung isang jurisprudence regarding annulment, yung naging basis ay I think it's ang naging basis ay psychological incapacity. Pero ang ebidensya ay size ng penis. So, ayun, jurisprudence, pinag-aaralan sa law school, yung mga court decisions. Okay? Okay. So, we have different types of laws. Okay, meron tayong mga dalawang category of laws. So, first we have criminal law. Okay, when we say criminal law, they are actions committed against the state or crimes against the state. Mga paglabag sa mga batas laban sa Estado. Okay? So example ng mga criminal law, Kapag narinig niyo yung people of the Philippines uh, versus someone. So yun. Isabihin that is a criminal law or public law. Okay? Another term for criminal law is public law. Criminal law, public law, crimes against the state. Okay. May mali ako dito, ha? Wait lang. Latag ko lang muna lahat. Okay. So, may mali ako. Ang mali ko dito, yung nasa baba ng People of the Philippines versus RRT. At saka yung Patient X versus RRT. Lahat na nasa baba niyan, pagbalik ta rin nyo, switch. So meaning, sa criminal law, hindi lang kailangan may ebidensya. Okay? Kailangan beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? Kailangan bago yung ebidensya ay magkokos para sa accused na maging guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? So, in the criminal law, kailangan we need to be watchful. Okay? So, always in favor of the accused. So, what do we mean by always in favor of the accused? Kung ako ang nag-akusa sa'yo, responsibilidad ko ng patunayan. Patunayan kung ano yung ina-accuse ko sa'yo. Okay? Hindi baliktad. Dahil in-accuse kita, responsibilidad mo na patunayan na uh, hindi totoo yung sinasabi ko. Nag-gets nyo ba? Medyo tricky kasi yan eh. Pag, okay, yung tinatawag na burden of proof. Okay, the burden of proof lies on the accuser or the prosecution. Ika nga. Ano yung burden of proof? Ibig sabihin ng burden of proof, dapat ikaw yung magpapatunay na yung taong yun, ginawa nga niya kung ano man yung inaakusa mo. Ngayon, kung hindi mo napatunayan na yung taong yun ay doon sa iyo inaakusa beyond reasonable doubt, so the case will be dismissed. Nakuha niyo ba? Halimbawa, ako, inakusahan ako na ako yung kumain ng cake sa rep. Sabi nung pinsan ko, na si kuya yung kumain ng cake sa rep. Eh, ako daw yung huling kumain. Sabi ko, hindi ako yung huling kumain ng cake. Or, basta sinabi ko, hindi ako yung kumain ng cake. So, ang mangyayari, yung kailangan patunayan ng pinsan ko na ako talaga yung kumain ng cake. Kung hindi naman niya mapatunayan na ako yung kumain ng cake, dismiss ang kaso. Hindi siya baliktad. Okay. Yung baliktad na sinasabi ko, inaccuse ako, di ba? So, instead na yung pinsan ko magsasabi na magpapatunay na ako yung kumain ng cake, ang gagawin ko, kung nasa akin yung burden of proof, so, kailangan ko patunayan na hindi ako yung kumain ng cake. Diba? Yung doon sa burden of proof, pag nasa kabila, nasa prosecution, papatunayan na ako yung kumain ng cake versus papatunayan ko na hindi ako yung kumain ng cake. Nagets nyo? Sure na kayo? The burden of proof lies with the accuser. So, madalas na sinasabi yan sa mga balita ng mga politiko. Okay? Pag nagkakaroon ng uh, expose or something. Okay? Okay. So next, sa criminal law yun ha. So, criminal law ay meron ding civil liability. Ibig sabihin, may damages. Depende sa judge kung magkano yung ipapataw na damage. Okay? Sa civil law naman, evidence is enough. Hindi kailangan ng beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? And pag napatunayan yung accused kaysa civil law, siyempre kailangan niya magbayad ng damages. Okay? Preponderance of evidence. Okay? So hindi nga siya uh, beyond reasonable doubt. It is enough na may evidence at napatunayan ng ebidensya yung pagkakamali under the civil law. Okay? So, damages, when we say damages, ito ay pera na binabayad para sa kung ano mang pinsala na nadulot sa isang party. Let's say, yung nag-accuse, nanalo, so yung damages ay pwedeng may original damages na hinihingi yung accused, yung prosecution na let's say 50,000, and then during the court decision, sabi ng korte, hindi lang 50,000, kulang yung 50,000, kailangan pati yung gastos nung prosecution sa abogado, kailangan din bayaran ng accused. So yun, damages yun. Or kung ano man yung dapat nakikitain, halimbawa, nabangga, na aksidente, hindi nakapagtrabaho ng 2 buwan yung accuser, yung accuser. So kasama doon kukwentahin kung magkano yung possible na kikitain niya during those times na hindi siya nakapagtrabaho para sa damages. Okay? Okay. So, we have the legal doctrine of dura lex sed lex. Are you familiar with that? Naririnig niyo ba siya sa balita? Dura lex sed lex. The law is hard, but it is the law. Ibig sabihin lahat ay pantay-pantay sa mata ng batas. Walang exception sa batas. The law is hard, but it is the law. Dura lex sed lex. Okay? Legal terminologies. Obligation, an act of binding oneself to do something. So kapag legal obligation, it is a legal act binding oneself to do something. Jurisprudence, philosophy of science of law. Legislature is a branch of government responsible for enacting laws, or Congress body. Okay? So, definition of terms lang muna yan. Then, ayan, public law. Law in which government is directly involved. Regulates the relationship between individual and government. Public law or criminal law. Then we have private law, regulates the relationship among people. Okay? So that means private law is the same with civil law. Okay. So, paano po natin malalaman kung ang isang aksyon ay criminal offense or civil offense? Have you thought about it? Naisip niyo ba yun? Paano kaya nasasabi ng mga pulis kung ang isang aksyon ay criminal offense or civil offense? Di ba? Paano kaya? Paano nyo, naisip nyo yon? Siyempre meron tayong listahan ng mga offenses at kung ano yung mga sanctions nila. Kung ang school merong student handbook, okay, ang isang bansa may tinatawag na, ano nga yun, nakalimutan. Ah, for civil law, yung Civil Code of the Philippines. Okay? So lahat doon nakapaloob lahat ng civil cases or civil offenses. Then, criminal law naman yung tinatawag na the criminal code. Penal code. Sa ngayon, ang ating ginagamit ay the revised penal code. Okay? So, statutory law, laws enacted by Congress. Okay? Statutory law. Judiciary system, responsible for reconciling controversies and conflicts or lawsuits. Okay? Good Samaritan law. Okay? This law holds physician and other healthcare workers harmless when rendering aid to a person in emergency situation. Okay. So example ng Good Samaritan law. Okay. Isang RADTEC, okay, you are certified, may training ka ng basic life support. Then nag-aantay ka ng tren, MRT. And then habang nag-aantay ka, may nag-seizure na tao. Then as your capacity as a healthcare worker na BLS certified, so you perform CPR. Kaso, hindi na-revive yung pasyente. Namatay. Okay? Ngayon, gusto kang kasuhan ng mga kamag-anak ng pasyente. Ang tanong, pwede ka bang kasuhan ng mga kamag-anak ng pasyente? The answer is no. Bakit hindi? It is because of the Good Samaritan law. You are performing your duty in an emergency case. Yun nga lang, hindi naging fruitful yung pinerform mong procedure. Okay? So, Good Samaritan law. Okay, so kung ano man ang mangyari sa pasyente while a healthcare provider is rendering aid. So hindi siya pwedeng kasuhan. Okay. So lawsuit, ibig sabihin niyan legal action in a court. Ano control? Court of law. Proceeding in court for a purpose or to enforce a right or to redress a wrong. Litigation, it is the process of lawsuit. Plaintiff, okay? Person or government bringing a lawsuit against the other. Okay, so yung plaintiff, ito yung accuser. Okay, the proper term for the accuser is plaintiff. Plaintiff. Tapos yung inaakusahan, ang tawag sa kanya ay defendant. Kapag may kaso na, okay, kapag may kaso na, defendant. Person being accused of a tort or a crime. Okay. So ano naman po yung tort Tort, a private injustice or injury. Okay? It is either intentional or unintentional. Okay. Some of example of these are the following: false imprisonment, assault, battery, defamation, invasion of privacy. So dito mabibigyan natin ng linaw. Anong pagkakaiba ng assault sa battery? Okay. Baka kasi magkaiba tayo ng ah, definition or ng pagkahulugan dun sa battery at assault. So may tanong, sir, papaano pag di-certified yung nag-perform? Ah, kahit na hindi certified, as long as you are providing aid, may aid, nagpro-provide ka ng aid, ng tulong, during an emergency case. Emergency case yun, di ba? So, ah, kahit na may mangyaring unfortunate events after you provided aid, then you are not liable to that unfortunate circumstances. Okay? So, the following are what we call intentional torts. Sinadya. Number one, assault. The patient is apprehensive about being injured. Imprudent conduct of a radiographer that causes fear in patient is grounds for an allegation of civil assault. Okay, diretso na natin sa battery bago natin explain. Battery, unlawful touching or touching without consent. Harm resulting from physical contact with radiographer. May also include radiograph or radiographing the wrong patient, the wrong body part, or performing radiography against a patient's will. So, malinaw na malinaw pa sa ating panampusit na magkaiba po ang assault sa battery. Pag sinabing assault, ito ay more on words lang. Intimidation, pananakot, coercion, pamimilit. Okay? Pag sinabing battery, may kinalaman na ng touch. Bawal ang touch. Pag walang consent. Okay? And in addition, kapag nag-x-ray ka ng wrong patient, wrong body part, at nag-perform ka ng x-ray against the patient's will. So that also constitute battery. Hindi pag sinabing battery, binugbog. Hindi pag sinabing assault, sinampal o sinabunutan. Diba? Again, assault, walang contact, walang body contact. Battery yung merong body contact. Clear? Okay, we move to the next. False imprisonment. Unjustified restraint of a person. So care must be taken when using restraint straps or having other individuals assist while holding a patient still. So, ayun. Ang paggamit ng mga restraint devices, kailangan pa rin yan ng consent. If not, you will be liable or pwede kang kasuhan ng false imprisonment. Sabi mo, ano lang naman po in-strap ko lang naman po siya ng velcro Saka madali naman po siya makakawala doon. Paano po naging false imprisonment yun? Kaya nga di ba false? Hindi naman tunay na imprisonment. Pero, it is a civil offense. It is intentional tort. Okay. So next, yan. Invasion of privacy. Violation of confidentiality of information. unnecessarily or improperly touching of a patient's body part, photographing patients without their permission. So invasion of privacy. Then defamation, character assassination. We have two types of defamation, libel and slander. Okay, when we say libel, written. When we say slander, it is verbal. Okay? Slander, verbal, libel, written. So lahat ng nakasulat na defamation, ito ay libel. Newspaper, social media, na written, okay? Ano pa? Magazines, yan ay libel. Mga videos, voice recorded, mga verbal conversation, so, or interviews or whatever, yan ay slander. Okay? Uy, 12 na. Sakto. The angel of the Lord. Okay, so tapusin lang natin. Mga 5 minutes. Okay, so yung kanina ay intentional torts. So we have uh, assault, battery, false imprisonment, ano yung isa? Privacy, something, violation of patient privacy, then defamation. Okay? So now pupunta tayo dun sa tinatawag na unintentional, hindi sinasadya. And dito, isa lang naman yung pumapasok sa unintentional. At ito yung tinatawag na negligence. Okay? So negligence, neglect or omission of reasonable care based on the doctrine of reasonably prudent person or due diligence. So reassuredly prudent person doctrine based on how a reasonable person with similar education and experience would perform under similar circumstances. Ibig sabihin ng negligence, either it is an act or an omission. Pag sinabing omission, hindi mo ginawa, kinaligtaan mo. Okay? Na ito ay magdudulot ng injury sa isang tao, okay? Na dapat naman ay hindi siya or na ang isang tulad mo, katulad mo na tao na may similar educational and experience background ay magpe-perform or gagawin yung mga bagay na yun. Pero ikaw hindi mo ginawa, so it is an act of negligence. Okay, so there are two types of negligence, gross negligence and contributory negligence. So gross negligence, these are acts that demonstrate reckless disregard of life or limb. Okay? Kung maputulan man ng any body part yung pasyente, so that is gross negligence. Then contributory negligence, okay? Instance in which the injured person is contributing part to the injury. Ibig sabihin, both the healthcare worker and the patient are responsible for the injury. That is contributory injury. Yung sa gross negligence, ito ay yung type ng negligence na magkakos or magkakaroon ng disregard for life or limb. Okay? So malinaw po yung contributory. Okay? Ibig sabihin ng contributory, may negligence na nangyari at yung negligence na yon ay both the healthcare worker and the patient ay responsible dun sa nangyaring negligence or may kinalaman sa nangyaring negligence. Kaya siya ay contributory negligence. Okay po. Ayan, naulit. Okay. So, criminal law. Okay. So, under the revised penal code, Article 365, okay, impudence and negligence. So, negligence in Philippine law is both criminal and civil offense. Okay? So, ano yung legal maxim na nalagay dito? Nullum crimen, nulla fine sine lege. Ano ibig sabihin? There is no crime if there is no law. Tama ba? Tama naman, di ba? Kulang pala yung English ko. Ulit. Nullum crimen, nulla fine sine lege. There is no crime if there is no law punishing it. Yun ang complete. Okay? So, walang krimen, totoo naman, di ba? Walang krimen kung walang batas na nagbabawal dito. Unfortunately, for negligence, nakalagay siya sa Revised Penal Code under Article 356, impudence and negligence. Okay? And, of course, civil law under the Civil Code of the Philippines, Article 2176, whoever by act or omission causes damage to another, there being fault or negligence, is obliged to pay for the damage done. Okay? Sa Revised Penal Code 256, Article 256, nakalagay dyan kung ano yung kung ilang taong ka makukulong. Sa Civil Code of the Philippines nakalagay dyan na entitled yung plaintiff kapag napatunayan na may sala yung defendant sa damages. Okay? May question? Walang kulong sa civil law. Damages lang yun. All you have to do is pay for damages. However, there are actions that are both criminal and civil, punishable by both criminal law and civil law. So kahit na siya ay civil offense, at the same time siya ay criminal offense, kulong ka pa rin. Katulad ng negligence. Di ba? Sipin nyo, sa dami ng negligence na nangyayari sa Philippine healthcare system, kung ang tao ay literate sa kanilang karapatan, Diyos ko, ang dami ng healthcare professional na nakulong. Di ba? Okay? Conditions needed to establish malpractice. Okay, there are only 4. Establishment of the standard of care. Ano ba yung standard of care? So, binanggit natin kanina yan. Then, demonstration that standard of care was violated by any of the healthcare workers, hindi lang radiographer. Demonstration that loss or injury was caused by the healthcare worker who is being sued. Pag sinabing sued, kinakasuhan. Okay? Loss or injury actually occurred and is a result of negligence. Okay? So yan yung 4 na ay kinakailangan para magkaroon ng malpractice. Mawala man ang isa dyan, hindi siya pwedeng malpractice. Okay? Let's say walang establishment of standard of care. So, walang malpractice na mangyayari. hindi na-establish yung negligence. Walang malpractice na mangyayari. Okay? Okay, last two slides. Doctrines under negligence. These are doctrines that a healthcare provider can use in defense of themselves, either in defense of themselves or in incrimination of themselves. Okay? So number one is the doctrine of respondent superior. Literally means let the master answer. Okay? So this is the legal doctrine stating that an employer will be held liable for an employee's negligent act. Captain of the ship doctrine. So, dito dalawa yung pwedeng explanation. So, yung una, ang hindi lang yung employee na naging negligent ang pwedeng kasuhan kung hindi pati yung employer. At the same time, pwede siyang gamitin sa defense. Yung respondent superior. Let's say, uh, sinunod mo lang kung ano yung inutos sa'yo ng iyong superior. So therefore, you are not liable to any crime or negligence kasi you only obeyed a lawful order of your superior, and therefore you can use respondent superior as your defense. Okay. Next is res ipsa loquitur, or let the thing speaks for itself. Okay? So, very simple. Kung ikaw ay nahuli, na ikaw ay nagnanakaw, so the thing speaks for itself. Diba? Hawak mo yung ninakaw mo, so you incriminate yourself. Or, you can use it as defense kapag meron kang evidence, so the thing speaks for itself. Example, CCTV camera na nagpapatunay na hindi ikaw yung kumuha, ibang tao yung kumuha ng certain thing sa office, di ba? Let's say ganun. Na-accuse ka na ikaw yung nagnakaw, pero napatunayan sa CCTV na hindi ikaw. So let the thing speak for itself. Let the CCTV footage speak for itself. So yun lang ibig sabihin ng res ipsa loquitur. Okay? And of course, the third one or the last one is force majeure, or act of God, irresistible or superior force. That includes flood, earthquakes, fire. Though may mga fire na man-made, pero they are still considered as irresistible force or superior force. Anything na mangyari dyan that resulted to negligence ay pwedeng or hindi ka mapapanagot ng negligence because you do not have any control to the flooding, to earthquake, etc. Okay? So, any questions before I let you go?